Thank you so much.
Interesting. Christopher,
Yes, please.
do we really need the East African community now, or we have lost it? Because we used to know the East Africa of that time, during the Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, Milton Obote, and those people who had the passion for the East African community. Is it still of the importance as you see the world is changing every day? Rwanga?
Give me permission to digress a bit, still within the region of East Africa. As you may be aware, the Zambian leader, Hikayinde Hichilema, visited Tanzania for a 2 days visit this week. And when he reached Dar es Salaam and he met High Excellency Sahura, they discussed a number of things. And one of the aspects of the things which came on the table was to revive or to follow the footsteps of what our founding statesmen did. And we are very, very categorical. They need to revamp TAZARA, that is Tanzania Zambia Railway, and make it standard gauge railway through public-private partnership. They even touched another sensitive area, that they need to upgrade the technology of their oil pipeline from Dar es Salaam to Ndora, known as Tazama. And of course, they enumerated other areas. What were they trying to show us? They were trying to show us that much as we are moving forward with whatever we are doing, we need to fall back and ask ourselves, how did our founding fathers see this? How did they go with this? I was unfortunate that in 1980, I sat my O-level exams at Namilyango College, and we are the first products of UNEB, Uganda National Examination Board. I missed the East African Examination Board exams, which would have made me a complete student of East Africa. Instead, I retreated a bit to a complete student of Uganda. Fine, our new leaders who came have tried to say, let us try to bring back East Africa, but we may not be in a position to do it in the style of our founding fathers, because by the time our founding fathers were moving Africa forward, much as difficulties were there, they had where to lean, they had where to consult each other. There was a certain at least force which could defend their views. This time we are moving East Africa ahead. We have a limited room for maneuver because of the changes in the global politics. So to go back to your question, we need the East African community even by yesterday, even today, even tomorrow. Our children need to inherit an East Africa which we have fully integrated, which we have fully possible that I can go and live in Tanzania, Tanzanians can come and live here, we can marry each other, we can use the same currency, we can talk the same language, we can share this joy, tribulations, and challenges. So that sort of solidarity of a regional bloc is needed. The only challenge we had is that Africa was caught up in two ways. One, should we go for the total unity of Africa, or should we go for piecemeal unity of blocks? It was found that blocks complement the total unity of Africa, and blocks are even much easier to handle, to deal, because more or less most people are related within each block. You will find a Kenyan who is as good as a Ugandan or a Tanzanian. a Southern Sudanese who is as good. But this mechanism of how to fund it, how to move it forward, how to limit the contradictions, the suspicions, is the challenge of the present leaders and the future leaders. Otherwise, I honestly believe ever since we needed East African community, we just needed to improve it, perfect it, make it work, and be seen to work. Of course, the foundation which they had laid was very, very good. You could see now East Africa at the grassroots. I visited Soroti some time back, and one person took me to a certain place in Soroti and told me those were East African quarters they were building, because
the common language, that is something that unites us more than what divides us. That is one. And we are talking about, we are, at one point in time we are going to talk about the monetary union. That is two. So I can tell you that it is a process, step by step. It is where instead of looking at what divides us, it is better to be optimistic than being pessimistic. You know, the problem of being a pessimist is that one of the people was saying it, that it is when you are a pessimist, you always fear taking risks. So, and when someone takes risks, you say, let him take it, and he fails. So when he fails, you are exonerated. But when he passes, you get shocked, but shocked positively. So I can assure you that irrespective of the challenges and the different stages of development, we can always pull up each other. And
strictly is that every leader who was coming up and every political party which was coming up, in its manifesto, it had that core value of integration. Integration at a national level, integration at the East African level, integration at a continental level, and the entire integration with the world. That was how the politics played out. And when you go deeper into that politics, you will find that Kenyan politics was not restricted to Kenya. Uganda's politics was not restricted to Uganda. Tanganyika's politics was not restricted to Uganda. And you will be surprised that all these struggling Africans in the struggle of decolonization and independence wished each other well and shared the common strategies. And their tipping point came when Osajefo delivered independence for Ghana in 1957 March. And when he did it, he did not look back. He simply called immediately other African leaders, about 7 or 9, who were independent, and told them, you people, let us sit here and we design the agenda and we move forward. I'm the one who has part of the resolutions of the Pan-African Congress of Manchester in 1947, because Nkwame Nkrumah was the secretary of that conference. Jomo Kenyatta was there. Dr. Hastings Kamuzu Banda was there. Celeste Kama was there. There were some of those old guys who were there. So now when they met, they agreed that our brothers and sisters who are still struggling, they need the technique. They need to be pushed to complete the race. So what do? Let us invite all of them to the All-African Conference in Accra 1958. And when they all went, Uganda was represented by Uganda National Congress. So were there, Zambia was represented by Kaunda, they had not yet got independence, we were all there. And we shared the strategies, we shared the hopes, we shared the challenges, and we knew what was at stake. Now you can imagine, you are in Uganda here battling a white man. But your brother, several kilometers away in West Africa, is inviting you with everything fully catered for. And reaching there is giving you a blueprint. Okay? Is saying, no, we need to continue with this unity and we need to secure the victory. So, that sort of bill you are talking about is coming from that background. Now, when several African countries got independence, our former colonial masters, they realized that these people are working much faster. They may complete the race before we are ready for them. So that is when now they started revising the trends and throwing in gunmen, military people, to reverse. That is how the passion is starting to go. When a military man takes over a country, he does not follow necessarily the national agenda. He follows a certain agenda you cannot understand. And this is where things started becoming particularly difficult, especially for East Africa. East Africa had issues a moment Amin stepped in. And when Amin stepped in, he disturbed the politics. Okay? Such that the time we struggled to remove Amin, and Amin eventually left in 1979, to be specific, 11th April, it was not easy to do the damage, to repair the damage he had done. However, East African countries said, okay, East Africa collapsed in 1977, Amin has gone, we can understand each other, let us first sit and share the spoils, and then work out a formula on how we can re-establish a new East Africa. Of course, the new East Africa, which was revived or established, it is not in the same intensity, I honestly agree with you, but yet the challenges now facing the region are much bigger and grave and demand a collective position, even minus argument. We are in an era where climate change is a real threat, but you cannot control climate change in Uganda when you have not coordinated with Kenya, when you have not coordinated with Tanzania, when you have not coordinated with the DRC. Okay, you cannot. It needs a complete regional approach, which again goes beyond a region to a continental approach, and still it goes beyond a continental approach to a global approach, so such that each area complements the other. Right now, as we are talking, apart from the climate change equation, we have had the latest example of COVID. Okay, how COVID came in and how COVID affected Africa, how COVID affected East Africa. It reminds you that passion you are saying that it has disappeared. You could not contain AIDS or COVID minus going back to that passion and how that passion can be rediscovered.
I expected Kenyans helping Ugandans in COVID and Ugandans doing the same to South Sudanese, but it was a different story.
Yeah, why it was a bit a different story is that what you have on table as a national budget, okay, you have not worked out modalities as in the days of that passion. Okay, you are having a small national budget which you are running, and at the same time you made you made an ideological adjustment to how you should be running your affairs, especially in the economy. These countries we are talking about, let me finish this thought before you go to my friend. These countries we are talking about of Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, with that passion also had a political philosophy. Each one believed in a mixed economy. When you are operating under a mixed economy, you are a boss on your own. Nobody can direct you. Now, this new revived economy, I mean East African community, has found us when we have shifted from the mixed economy to a free economy. And as we have shifted to a free economy, privatized economy, we are facing challenges on how to hold our political voice, because our political voice goes with your economic say, and your economic say goes with what actually is yours. Okay. A very good example, when you have East African Airways, who can talk and compete with you in airspace as regards to East Africa? When you have your East African Standard Bank fully operational, who can compete with you? You can direct things, but now it is a little bit difficult. You cannot talk tough.
Okay.
Yes.
Luanga, before I let you go,
yes, please.
Is Uganda really on course towards this integration agenda?
Me, I'm saying Uganda is on course now because there are some things we have learned the hard way, and we are starting to patch them up. I can give you an example.
Please.
UPC government started the national service under the instructions of Common Man's Charter and opened up Jankwanzi. And the principal languages they were going to use were all the native languages, but Swahili was to be there and Lingala. That was way back in 1969. The political changes confused the things. It is now when Uganda is saying, let us also have Swahili officially. That means that the government is sensing where we had gone wrong. We had forgotten about our Uganda railways after we had broken away from East Africa. Now the government, if you follow the president's speech yesterday, it is putting emphasis to the railway. And when you put emphasis to the railway, you are seeing yourself directly in Kenya, you are seeing yourself directly in Tanzania, you are seeing yourself directly in Southern Sudan, and you are seeing yourself directly in Rwanda, DRC, Burundi, without even making noise. You just perfect your rally, your railway, and it is there. Okay? So, you are going to see that Uganda now what is doing by sobering up and saying, some of these assets which made the government strong and drive the agenda, we need to bring them back. The Uganda Airlines is back. And if I'm not mistaken, I also had another important public debate going on that we upgrade Post Bank and it becomes a full-fledged bank ready to stand in the region. When you start having those pillars propping up, you know you are moving somewhere. But for a certain period, when the government retreated too much, we lost grip.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. Akoreje, what have we done as a country or as a member state, I mean Uganda, to show that we are working towards attaining the East African integration agenda?
Thank you so much, moderator. Integration, I want to say this before I move on. Integration is stationed on pillars, and there are 4 pillars. There's customs union, there's common market, there's monetary union, and then political federation. So Uganda as a country, I think we have taken both political, economical, social, I think security, we have all those steps. Politically, we have the will. We have a leader who is committed to integration. We can see the efforts he has put in. We can see how he has tried so much to pull the brothers around the region to come together. Our aim and main target is to ensure that Africa is one. But when we join blocks, it is when we shall be able to put it as one. So we have a political leader who is committed economically, I think we are doing whatever we can to ensure that we have, because we are working on non-tariff barriers, we are working on tariff barriers. Security-wise, I think that is the hub of Uganda, is the hub of that. So I think Uganda is more than ready, and it has done whatever it can through the leadership of the NRM, and I think they are trying so much to ensure that they are ready for the integration. It is now a matter of time. You can see members trying to come in. Just, of course, we still have some problems, whereas we have countries like Sudan that are taking long to pay their obligation for the community. We also have challenges of the DRC having problems. We also have challenges that I'm talking about, challenges that of the whole East Africa. We have challenges of the people of the Turkana trying to come to Karamoja and causing mayhem. So whereas we still have challenges of leaders like the East African leaders that have intrigue and others. The other day, the aspiring president of Kenya was describing Uganda as a failed state. So we still have challenges of intrigue. You still have challenges of imperialist tendencies. We have challenges of now, for example, you look at a force like MONUSCO that has been... Are
you sure we are referred to as a failed state?
Yes. Raila Odinga, he was referring to Uganda, he was referring to South Sudan, he was referring... You can see the kind of leaders that...
Were there some facts that he based on?
Does he have facts? In fact, if there are facts, when he came... If there are facts, when he came in 2018, Uganda exported over $628 million to Kenya. And the surplus was just 123 million US dollars. You see how funny.
So you disagree with him that we are not a failed state?
So much. We are not. So I'm talking about, so you can see the direction that we are taking.
Okay.
Whereas we are moving forward, I have to finish it. Whereas we are moving forward, we still have challenges, but our resolve and the commitment of Uganda as a country, I think we are unstoppable.
All right. Yes. This is UBC. We are broadcasting live on 98 FM, UBC Radio. We are also live in Arua on 97.4 FM. We are also live in Lila on 99.4 FM. We are also live on Butebo FM, in Mbale 96.9 FM. In Soroti, you get us on 98.4 FM. In Arua, 95.5 FM. We are also live and clear on another radio in West Nile, called UBC West Nile on 98 FM. We're also live on the source of entertainment, that is UBC Magic 100 FM. We're looking at working towards attaining full integration of the East African community, and we are asking ourselves, is Uganda really on course? UBC Ground Zero takes a very short break, and I'm coming back in a bit as you get some of your opinion and calls. I shall engage Honorable Dombor Mara and Brigadier General Felix Courage. Don't you go away. We're coming back in a bit.
This is Ground Zero Season 2. Stay tuned. We shall be right back.
Tune in to Ground Zero on UBC Radio. We discuss politics.
The money we collect as taxes in the country, we lose it in corruption.
Economics.
The 4 economic sectors where their jobs and wealth are: commercial agriculture, industries, services, and ICT.
Education.
The classes which will not need an abridged curriculum are the entry-level classes of P1, Senior 1, and Senior 5.
Culture and religion. And other areas of human interest. Ground Zero every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on UBC Radio. Don't miss.
Welcome back. Ground Zero Season 2 continues.
Welcome back from that very short break. This is UBC Ground Zero. We're broadcasting live on 98 FM on UBC Radio. We're also live and clear on other sister radio stations. UBC Butebo in western and eastern parts of this country. We are also live on UBC West Nile FM. In West Nile, Teso, and other regions in the north. We're also live and clear on Magic 100 FM and this is UBC Red. We're also streaming live on YouTube, UBC Ground Zero. You're going to reach us on 776-511-426 is the number that you can call us and you share your opinions. In the studios, I have Dixon Akoraje, is the lecturer at Labour College of East Africa, is a Pan-Africanist and hustler, as he said. We also have Ranga Christopher, head of ideology, research and documentation, is coming from the UPC Secretariat. Let me get one caller, and later on we shall engage other panelists who are online. UBC.
Good morning, Mr. Mpaire.
A very good morning to you.
This is Juma from Butebo.
Okay.
Thank you very much for coming back. We have been missing you for the last 2 episodes.
All right, I missed you too. The other first one we had H. Timbri in Barada.
I remember from that time till today you came back.
Yes, we are still happening and shaking our bodies. Ground Zero, we're discussing East African community.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, thank you so much for that discussion, topic for discussion for today.
Okay.
I begin by asking a question. One of your panelists was saying that when a military stepped in power, there are some other things they cannot do, or they don't know what to do. And example the person gave about Idi Amin, when Idi Amin came into power, Juma was not yet born. But historically, I would like that very gentleman to tell us, was Amin the only president who was a military and became a head of state? Because if I'm not mistaken, even the current regime, Museveni himself is a military person. So that one, it does not give me any point in that when a military person steps in power. Only for Amin, maybe issues concerning with the consultation. And many of NRM manifestos, there are key areas, they were picked from Amin's Act, and for them they add some of the ingredients which has make it work, is functioning for them. When Amin said Asian must stop and go and pack and go, after realizing that they were stealing the gold, the mercury, the mineral, the resources of Africa, only that Amin took a harsh direction to penalizing them in that way. And up to the president himself, Mr. Museveni, normally praised the type of clothes which are made out of cotton. It is within our own land, and we are making them within us here. Because for Amin, it was like they are taking your gold, they are taking your thing, they take it today, and then they change it into another form. The glasses are coming back this way. We are buying glass at expensive prices. So meaning that Amin only, these presidential advisors, for Amin it was a problem. He had no advisors for him, I think, to me. Nevertheless, we should not condemn them. Those who were leaders before, we have to pick from where they left from, and we continue the journey. Because if every day we come, we condemn Amin, we condemn Milton Obote, we condemn so and so, but for that very period they stood, something functional they did, which was very important for the nation. We have also to appreciate. However, it might not be to 100% to appreciate, but today we are here. It is not because of not only one person's effort, which has brought Uganda today. I tell you, should you stop, you don't go to your garden and dig. You hope for the money coming from Nabanja. You will hear they will bury you before even no one knows about you within the state.
Okay. Your last comment,
So, me,
Juma?
in summary, Amon, East Africa, what I feel like they should integrate in the forms of giving justice within the East Africa community by getting a uniform which resembles East Africa. Not that maybe there is a problem in Congo, Uganda is number one going to Congo.
Okay.
You're going to Congo has who? You let it be generalized. You go as a unit in one combat, and you do the service to wananchi there.
All right.
Because about that, they go there, they also steal. Thank you so much.
Most
I
welcome.
don't agree with Ugandans.
All right. That was Juma sharing his opinion about this important topic. We're still discussing East African community integration. We are looking at the opportunities and gaps, but we are also asking ourselves that is Uganda really on course? We're going to engage one of the politicians and is important person in this government, and I think is one of the people who are shaping the future of this country and the region, and will be talking to us on UBC Ground Zero, and that is Honorable Dombor Mara. Okay, as we're waiting for Honorable Dombor Mara to be online, we are going to engage more of your calls on 776-511-426 as you share your opinions on what you think needs to be done to realize the East African integration agenda, and also what you think Uganda needs to do in order to benefit from this very integration. UBC Ground Zero. UBC. We're going to get to your call again. UBC.
Opondo Kennedy from Namombe.
Opondo Kenneth? Kenneth.
Yeah. Okay.
Your concern, please.
Actually, I could concur with Juma.
Okay.
By the reason that when you just compare East Africa, let's say East Africa with the world at large, you will say that maybe if anything happened in the whole world, there is the UN body governing that situation and making that situation cool. But for East Africa, for the instance of Uganda, you find East African countries, most of them, there are like 6 to 7 of that sort. But you find maybe Uganda is far as concerned in doing that thing. And I don't know, I ask myself, why is that being happened? They have to unite. Since they are now called East Africa, let all of them be together. They sit down, then they see how many countries are we taking, maybe to go and rescue that position. For instance, like maybe for the case of war in Congo, you see maybe Uganda alone going, and yet there are very many countries which lies within the East African countries. So that one is not okay. So if we want maybe the East Africans to be strong on itself, like the world, which is governed by UN first body, so they have to come together and they have to be together so that in case of anything, they just join hands so that each and everything become finalized. Thank you.
Thank you, Kenneth, for your opinion. 776-511-426 is the number that you can reach us on and you share your opinions. Hello.
Yes, morning.
A very good morning to you.
Yeah, this is Martin from Uyenga.
Yes, Martin, most welcome to this edition.
Yeah, thank you for the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, but me just, I have my question just.
Please.
Yeah, question is going like this. Because a long time ago, there was a corruption also like this time. Because if you find, like Uganda, our military, everywhere they are there, everywhere they are there. For a long time ago, those things were there or not. If you find that if it is the war in Somalia, were there. Where were there? That is my question, so I can't
Okay. Thank you so much for the concern. 776-511-426 is the number that you can reach us on and you share your opinions. This is UBC Ground Zero. East African Community Integration Agenda. Is Uganda really on course? What do you think needs to be done to ensure that we benefit or tap into the opportunities that we see in this integration? UBC? UBC? You can call us again on 776-511-426 and you share your idea. Allow me go back to the studios and later on I'll be picking your calls and we continue with our edition. You've heard the people of Uganda raising their concerns How are you addressing them? How are you answering them? I think this is one concerning security and our armies being anywhere and everywhere is going to be answered by Brigadier General Felix Koreje. But starting with you, Christopher, you have heard from Juma and Kennedy and Martin. What is your say?
Thank the callers, and especially Juma, who has brought in this issue. The military in Africa has been a force which diverts Africa from its original agenda. This thing of the military did not start in Uganda with Amin. We can trace it in DRC when imperialists used Mobutu to squeeze Lumumba. Up to now, DRC has never settled. And it is only a few months ago when a teeth of Lumumba was brought back and given an international funeral arrangement. So it is the military which interfered, or which was used to interfere in the politics of DRC. Come to Togo, Sylvanus Olympio was the first to be assassinated by the army. Much of West Africa, a country like Ghana and Nigeria, have undergone about 8 or 9 coups, at least 5. I can be very safe of that. And all that has reversed the development. Come to Uganda. By 1970-71, Zambia was in advanced stages of joining East African Community because of what East African Community was doing and their level of engagement. But when Amin came in, immediately he dissolved or closed down this very building next to you, the parliament. Now, if you close the parliament, how are you going to fully integrate with your friends in East Africa? And then from there, the politics started becoming hard. There is nowhere in the world you can chase anyone with his property minus compensation. The Common Man's Charter decided to nationalize, okay, but it was to nationalize through natural declaration or natural pronouncement with a compensation. But the mess Amin created by chasing those people forcefully minus compensation, again it boomeranged to Uganda, and when the UPC government took over, it had now to re-engage the people who were chased savagely. How do we come to a compromise? Because you cannot now go to any international money lending institutions, you cannot belong to international community where you have somebody's wealth, you vandalized like that, and you have not addressed it. This is how now we have seen the Indians or Asians being compensated or returning their properties which had been damaged. Then at the same time also, Idi Amin, when he took over power, he took it upon himself to follow up his enemies, and it put him into direct confrontation with Tanzania. This now kills the spirit of East Africa. So I would say that the military people who came from the barracks disorganized the spirit of consensus, the spirit of discussion, how we can move forward. It is now when Amin left that people could now come and sit and talk. The politician is the one who has to derive the military, and the military has to pay allegiance to civil authority, not the military taking over the civil authority. When you do such a thing, it can't work. It is the East African Federation, the East African Community to plan for their respective military, either through joint ventures or through respective national programs.
All right. Dixon, about the callers?
About the callers, I think I disagree with the caller who said that it is a fact that when Amin came to power, it is when the East African community stopped. So there's no, I don't think there's an apology for that. That is a fact. And when and also there's one who said that why is Uganda's army everywhere? It is because of the Pan-African spirit that our president and the NRM government, I think they have. The army being everywhere means that we are securing our interests. Where your interest lies is where you put your people. And I feel that when Somalia we can even start growing things in Somalia now. I think they can see you can ask yourself, MONUSCO, which is a peacekeeping force that has been in DRC for time memorial, they have not been doing anything. It is now that the Congolese, after seeing, I think,
Hello?
Operation Suja, that when after people seeing what UPDF was doing in Operation Shuja that is ongoing there, that they are saying these people have been here for a very long time, but M23 comes and takes over a town and is even advancing. So they are saying that you a peacekeeper who has not been doing anything, you a peacekeeper.
Sorry to cut you short. We have a Brigadier General online. Hello.
Please.
This is UBC Ground Zero, sir, and you're connected to 4 radio stations covering the entire Uganda.
Thank you.
You may greet the people of Uganda, General.
The people greet you and thank you for loving your country. Those who love it, those who are working, thank you for working for your country. And those who are not finding anything to do, please explore your mind. Explore your mind. I'm sure you'll find opportunities where you are. And God bless this country.
Okay. My name is Aman Ortega, and we are discussing the East African integration agenda, and we are asking ourselves, is really Uganda on course?
As far as I know, Uganda is very much on course.
Okay.
Both in the private sector and in government.
Okay.
Yes.
As a man in uniform, how are you understanding the East African integration?
I understand East African integration as security for our countries in the region.
Okay.
I understand the integration as the origin of our protection as a citizen, as a people. I understand integration as the engine for economic development for the region.
General, among the aims for the establishment of East African community, security was key. Do you see the unification of the 7 countries as a means to realize peace and security, or it is the beginning of insecurity in the region?
It's the beginning of security and stability, because unity is strength, first of all. And number 2, strategic defense or strategic depth can only be realized by the unification or integration of the East African countries to be one country. Otherwise, each individual country, with the exception of DRC and Tanzania, the rest of the countries of the region have no strategic depth. Therefore, it is important that these 7 countries unite or integrate. That will guarantee strategic depth, that will guarantee strategic security, that will guarantee durable peace and security for our people.
Okay. General, you're not concerned that when the region becomes so big, the army may be overwhelmed by the population and also the size of East African community, hence may itself increase in security, as opposed to a small size of one country or member state which can handle her own security matters?
When the region integrates politically and economically, that means we cease spending on defense against each other, because now we are having collective defense. Collective defense meaning that all the countries of the region will be contributing to the defense of the integrated East African country. Number 2, once you have integrated, we have to copy from each other good practices. The good practices we can copy, for example, is the nationalism in Tanzania. That's 1. 2, the way the Tanzanians have organized the national service. I'm sure the whole region would benefit. So in my humble view, an integrated East African country stands better chances for security, and the population would definitely learn from each other. I'll give you an example. In Tanzania, tribes do not matter.
Yeah,
In
true.
Uganda, you give them priority. So at least we would learn from the Tanzanians that tribes are supposed to be a thing of the past.
Mm.
Yes.
When we fully realize the integration agenda, shall we expect UPDF to freely operate in Somalia and Rwanda without any restrictions? Because we are saying no borders, no barriers, no restrictions.
We already have a defense memorandum of understanding and defense.
Okay.
For the East African community. And that's why countries are moving, I mean, militaries have been moving across the border to participate in joint exercises.
Okay.
Now, when you have an integrated country, that's one army and one commander-in-chief.
Mm.
That means the countries will be deploying according to the strategic interests of the region.
Okay.
Yeah.
General, I believe that you are a farmer and I am also a farmer. One spoiled tomato put in a full basket of good tomatoes. You may end up losing all the tomatoes in that very basket. Are you not bothered, General, that inviting politically insecure countries to the bloc may jeopardize the peace and security of the others?
That philosophy indeed works with the tomatoes, not with the politics.
Mm.
With the politics, once you come together, then the countries of the region will help the affected country to resolve the outstanding issues, particularly of identity, issues of resource conflict. All those will be addressed.
Okay. General, I request that we look at the East African Army, the Standby Brigade.
Yes.
Is it there or it is being built?
You see, there has been confusion.
Mm.
We have an Eastern African Standby Brigade.
Okay.
A regional mechanism under the African Union security architecture, where regions were required to form standby brigades to deal with the security issues, to deal with emergency situations. Now, the Eastern African Standby Brigade exists.
Okay.
And this one includes Comoros, it includes Djibouti, it includes Ethiopia.
Okay.
And those three countries are not part of the East African community. Now, the East African community standby force that was proposed by the EAC summit is being built for the purposes of dealing with the situation in DRC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we not mixing up issues, General, in security, having other countries that are not part of the bloc?
Like which one?
Like you said, Comoros is part of the standby brigade.
I said Eastern African standby. Now you can see I even not understanding me yourself.
Okay.
I have said there are two issues here. We have the Eastern African Standby Brigade.
Okay.
Which, by the way, excludes Tanzania. Tanzania is not part of that brigade.
Excludes Tanzania, a member state of East African community?
East African community. And it is including Comoros, Djibouti, and Ethiopia that are members of the East African community. So I'm telling you that there are two issues. There is that one, which is part of the African Union security architecture. And it's already in existence. We have a command, we have an administrative establishment in Kenya. So that one is already existing.
Okay.
What the East African states agreed upon was forming an East African army that was going to help deal with the issues in DRC, dissolve the negative forces in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And that is Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, South Sudan. Plus DRC is a new member.
Okay.
So these are two different phenomena.
Are we seeing East African Standby Brigade being deployed in Congo where we're having security issues?
Which one?
In Congo, where the M23 jeopardizing security in DR Congo.
Which brigade are you referring to?
The Standby Brigade, the East African Army.
The East African Army is actually being brought together to deal with the issues in Congo.
Okay. Shall we expect member states to send same number of forces to Standby Brigade, or states shall send according to their capacity?
What I know is that we have been required to build up that force. The force levels have been determined by the head of states. The details of the sizes being sent by each country will depend on what the CDFs agree upon, given the MOU between the ministers of defense. Yes.
Okay. General, any challenges so far that may jeopardize the integration agenda that you have realized yet?
Yes. We have retrogressive nationalism still standing in our way. Retrogressive in the sense that people think you are being Ugandan by keeping others out. Retrogressive in that some people are raising non-tariff barriers that should have been removed long ago according to the Common Market Charter.
Okay.
The third challenge, of course, is the failure or lack of understanding of what integration should be entailing. Four, there are people who think there should be big fish in small ponds rather than being small fish in the big lakes or oceans. Yeah.
General, someone called in this very program and was concerned about our army being everywhere, as opposed to the then when we had the East African community. Why?
Why is he concerned?
That we have deployed almost in the Africa and East African community.
What are the armies for?
Perhaps to defend the nationals of the very country, not to be deployed in every country.
That individual and those who are listening to me should understand that our deployments depend on our ideology. Our ideology is patriotism, Pan-Africanism. Patriotism, love for your country. Pan-Africanism, love for Africa and the African wherever he is. We believe we can only say we are okay when every African is okay, especially in terms of security. Okay. Our principal ideological cornerstone is that we are because they are because we are.
True that.
Yes.
General, any advice to the listener?
Number one,
as you give your way forward.
Yes, I am. Thank you so much for the opportunity, UBC.
All right.
One, let every Ugandan position himself or herself to exploit the big market. You cannot earn unless you are selling something. Either your brain power or your physical power or your products. Uganda is the food basket of the entire region. It's high time every Ugandan, wherever you are, whatever land you have, scratch it, grow food, we have already a market. Three, those of us in the public sector must pull up our socks to render services to our citizens so that they can utilize the opportunities available in the East African community.
Okay.
Thank you.
Most welcome. We thank you, Brigadier General Felix Koreje, for being part of UBC Ground Zero.
Thank you too.
God bless you.
God bless you.
That was Brigadier General Felix Koreje, the spokesperson of Uganda People's Defense Forces, sharing his opinions and ideas in this very important edition of Ground Zero, East African Community Integration Agenda, working towards attaining the full integration of East African community. And we're asking ourselves, is Uganda really on course? Let me get back to the studio. You've heard from the General raising pertinent issues on security, having Tanzania not part of the security cooperation, but having Comoros and others, but also calling upon Ugandans to work very hard to tap into the opportunities that we see in the region. Starting with Christopher.
Yes, please.
General raised a number of issues, challenges, especially that we see in this integration agenda. In your own opinion, what do you think has delayed the full integration process? Why is it that we have not yet realized the full integration agenda of East African community? Christopher?
I think if we are to be very honest and sincere with ourselves, the political agenda which has come now, that with the 1990s, most of the countries joined the pro-democracy and democratized and went into that wave of having a leader not exceeding 5 years. That sort of politics is taking over almost the entire Africa. We have to admit it. And in East Africa, our final journey, when we have done customs union, common market, and all aspects of integration, we wait for the final thing, which is the political federation. Now, this political federation to come, it will require, when we have fully agreed with all our political systems. Now, with our political systems, they are a bit differing in the sense that in Uganda, we don't have term limits. Rwanda does not have term limits. So that could be a bit of a sticking point, though we are in for integration, regardless of the term limits and our sort of contribution. Then Tanzania, I had the chance of traveling from Zambia to Uganda via Tanzania. We sat with the former referee in Tanzania. When we are discussing, the Tanzanian was saying, integration is good and we are in for it, but we want some sort of mechanism which can safeguard the Tanzania in one aspect or the other. He gave me an aspect that, look, if we are to say we have integrated labor to move free, professionals to move free, Kenyans will take over all the key jobs in Tanzania.
Why?
Because they are better qualified and they are ahead of anyone in the region. No doubt about it. So he says there could be a sort of formula we can work on. Then he was saying that if again we fully integrate free movement, free settlement, and what have you, Kenyan native farmers are too hardworking and advanced that they can come and take over the entire land in Tanzania, make it more productive, but at the end of the day, Tanzania may have some issues. So, much as we are talking this language of integration, and I'm in for it, okay, we must again look at the sensitivities, all the challenges each individual government is having on its own, okay. So, I wouldn't say that we shall not reach there. We shall reach there through consensus. And when we reach there through consensus, when we are ironing out emerging issues, we may not have an issue of Britain pulling out of European Union. Because you are moving there stage by stage and ironing and acknowledging issues which are affecting the community. However, I must say that the approach we are taking, if I'm to concur with my colleague here in the studio, Dixon, is that the way we are looking at it in terms of economics, and we forget the easy card to play. The easy card to play is through cultural integration. Because we are already culturally integrated, it is only the borders which reminded them Mufumbira that you must stop here, don't go into Rwanda, or don't go into DRC.
Okay.
Yes.
I think we should do something to realize that we are the same standard with the Kenyans, not to fear them, but to be part of them. Online is Honorable Dombo Urmara. Hello?
Yes, please.
You're most welcome to UBC Ground Zero.
Thank you very much.
You may greet the people of Uganda, sir.
I want to take this opportunity to send my greetings to the people of Uganda, wherever they are.
Okay, sir.
I'm greeting you from the height and the heat of Kasese,
okay,
where we have an expanded conference for the NRM. in preparation for the by-election in Busongora.
Okay.
We have just received the Right Honorable Secretary General, Honorable also Dr. Christopher Omus, member of SEC, and we're just now in a briefing session before we proceed for the meeting.
Okay. Before you go for the meeting, how is the environment? How is the weather there?
The weather is a bit hot.
Okay.
But there is a lot of infrastructure development here in Kasese town.
Okay.
I'm very grateful to the chairman LC5, the mayor, Honorable Kiyonga, the entire NRM leaders, the Honorable Kabyanga, and the Honorable Mujungu, Honorable Ferigo, and the Honorable Sowedi. They're all working together as leaders to ensure that really Kasese is developed as a place.
I believe and I request that you take a tour around, because I believe that most of the parts in Kasese were destroyed by the floods some time back.
We have taken a tour around the Kilembe Hospital and have appreciated really the damage. And I want to tell you that I'm one of those people who have been recruited to become an advocate for the people of Kasese, especially in as far as improving the infrastructure, resettlement of the displaced people, but also protection of the environment so that water ceases to be being this destructive.
Important. Honorable, we are looking at East African Community Integration Agenda in this very program. And our topic, we are looking at working towards attaining the full integration of the East African community. We are asking ourselves, is Uganda really on course?
Not only Uganda. First of all, there is a commitment, and one of the biggest drivers of the East African integration has been President Yoweri Museveni.
Okay.
At strategic level of leadership, Uganda is seriously on course, because amongst the leaders who revived the community, is the only still serving leader who is still serving as president of the country and member of the summit.
Okay.
So he'll effectively continue guiding and providing the historical information, and also providing the vision, which has been part of the NRM ideology of patriotism, Pan-Africanism, and this is part of the building block under Pan-Africanism.
Okay.
And when you look at the movement of goods and people, there have been protocols and the treaties that have been signed and accepted. When you look at the common market, this is something that has been integrated, although there are a few hardships which are going to be overcome. We are now looking at the possibility of a common currency, and fundamentally and ultimately, the full integration, political and economy, where we shall have East Africa as one country governed under the same political system and one governance. So Uganda has made its strides, has made its contributions, but the different countries move in depending on how they internally appreciate, and also the historical challenges, some of which have been disruptive in the previous life. But also, something that must be acknowledged is that when the community started, it was only 3 countries that started the community, but right now, the community has expanded to 7 member states, and Somalia is likely to come on anytime sooner than later. And once this happens, then the integration process will be firm, but the building institutions will have to be strengthened, but also the political will of the various members and leaders will have to be encouraged in order to ensure that we get the federation that we require for us to move on as a fully integrated system.
Having 7 and more countries joining the integration, is this in any way going to jeopardize or delay the integration process?
It may reduce the speed of integration, but it is a necessary thing to happen because the bigger the number of integral parts of people who think alike, the better. Because more numbers bring on more ideas, more numbers bring on more markets, which should be one of the biggest objectives of the community. And also size will itself be deterrent. Once they form a community, they form a common army, form a common security system and agenda, then the region will become formidable and deterrent to anybody who may want to play around with the region. So it is a necessary evil. It will delay the process, but it will be the best and the best alternative ultimately.
Are we really uniting ourselves, or we are dividing ourselves instead? I'm looking at the South Sudanese punishing Ugandans who cross their borders, Kenya refusing products from Uganda, and Rwanda crossing the border. Yet we are supposed to be harmonizing, but the story is different.
Integration is a process, and it is based on people's understanding and foresightedness of the individuals who are playing and pushing the process.
Okay.
We should not forget that there could be external forces that don't prefer or that don't favor the integration process to continue. There are people who have been disintegrating and enjoying our disjointed markets individually, those who sell goods in the region. There might be neo-colonial tendencies of resisting the integration process, but I want to tell you that progressively, under the guidance of the current bearers of the integration process, like President Museveni, President Kenyatta, President Kagame of Rwanda, and the other leaders of the East African community, progressively they will understand that is better. We are better and more united working together, and it is more beneficial to us as individual members than standing lonely as individual countries.
A common Ugandan would ask themselves, why should Uganda be so much interested to be in the East African community, yet we are in other vital corporations like IGAD, which are also regional blocks?
When you look at our integration process, the East African community is a more natural process. Our countries were disintegrated by the Europeans when they created artificial borders. So the first and major uniting bloc, and which has been the most successful in the whole of the African region, is the East African community. It already existed and collapsed because of bad leadership and bad ideology. But ever since the revival started, members should know that it's more beneficial for us to be in the East African community. We shall be stronger together. We shall market together. Our children will go and work and get education across the borders. And progressively, when we finally become an East African state, then we shall become stronger, whatever that time will be. So people should know that we are better off under the East African community. The other regional blocks are also instructive and the purpose for which they have been created. But I think so far the East African region has been more successful, and it can lead us to better integration and other than the other regional integration systems that have been existed.
Okay. Honorable Dombo, I was that typical African child. When we were children or kids, we used to feed on one plate. One household, or even invite neighbors, and all children would feed on one plate. And we found out that strong children would eat faster and weak ones would not get satisfied because food would be all eaten by the strong ones and faster. Are you not bothered that the strong states are going to manipulate the weaker or small states in this integration?
It's not an issue of manipulation. The community runs on a treaty, and a treaty which has regulations. And regulations which recognizes that member states are equal as member states. That is why, irrespective of size, they all the same members of parliament in the East African community, the same number. But also we know that in order to run and contribute to the process, the bigger brothers may have a bigger role to play, either provision of security, provision of resources, and the provision of ideas. So the smaller and weaker states ordinarily benefit from the bigger brothers by way of resource contribution, but the only thing which ensures that they are all equitable is the treaty, which clearly spells out what the member obligations are and what the benefits are to the individual members.
Okay.
So it's the regulations that ensures that each member state benefits or does not disadvantage the other, save for the contribution of resources where more able states do more contribution than the other members.
Okay. Honorable, before I let you go, what are the gaps that you have realized as a person in this integration process, and what has delayed the full realization of this integration agenda?
I think progressively there could have been internal suspicions amongst the various players and members. Secondly, there are more stronger states, especially as far as industrialization is concerned, perhaps who may feel disadvantaged if the integration takes place, and also the different land policies within the different countries. And the others is the vision by the vision bearers themselves. The integration is in the hands at the summit level, because there are various institutional organs of the integration. We have the summit, we have the Council of Ministers, we have the East African Legislative Assembly, and also we have right now the constitutional making process for the Federation. All these are playing different but supportive roles, and we believe progressively they will overcome the internal dynamics which have been reducing on the pace at which the integration is moving. But for us, we are happy that the integration is necessary and is something that we are supportive of as a country.
Okay. Shall we see this get done and we enjoy it, or it is not for us but the generations to come, in your own predictions?
Whichever time it comes, but it's a responsibility of us now living to make sure that we play our part. If it comes to full maturation during our time, well and good. If it is that we must lay the foundation for our children or grandchildren to fulfill it in future, well and good, whichever. But the most important thing is that let everybody play his or her role until such a time that we fully get integrated.
Honorable Dombo, your way forward?
Way forward is to appeal to every member who has a role to play in the integration process to keep doing what they do best. To appeal to members of the East African Legislative Assembly and other organs to ensure that they make relevant and they keep educating and sensitizing the people of Uganda. Because when you look at the single customs union, when you look at the one-stop center at the immigration department, when you look at so many things that have been achieved, this is progress in the right way. But we need a little bit more in order to ensure that the integration takes its route.
Okay.
We thank everybody and we wish them well.
Our greetings to the people of Kasese.
Okay, please.
Thank you, sir, for always creating time for Ground Zero. Talking to us was Honorable Dombo Urumara Emmanuel, who is the Director Communications from National Resistance Movement, and I'm glad that they're in Kasese looking and checking on the people of Kasese. I believe that people who were affected by the landslides are going to be helped. Going back to the studios, before I come to you, Christopher, about whether we have lived to the expectations of our founding fathers like Mwalimu Julius Nyerere and Obote, let me ask Dixon, what do you think failed the former EAC? As the popular saying says, that they learned nothing and forgot nothing. If we don't know what happened and failed the former, perhaps we shall not know our president, and then we shall not realize our future in as far as East African community integration is concerned. Dixon? To
first reiterate on some of these issues, I was not, I don't know if it's okay.
Please.
General Kraiji has agreed with me on some issues. For him, he has called it retrogressive. But you can see what my friend was talking about, that a Tanzanian referee told him, that they are scared of Kenyans, that Kenyans are too aggressive. That is not good. I believe that it also answers that question. It is one of the reasons why the other East African community failed. First of all, there were egos and intrigues that I talked about in the start by the individual heads of state. We had issues of President Amin trying to abuse President Nyerere. They were pulling ropes. We also had an issue of imperialistic tendencies. The same challenges that we are facing now, actually they are the same, but in a bigger version. We are having imperialists who don't want us to unite, who don't want anyone to unite. I can give you an example of what is happening in China and Taiwan. You can see Taiwan and China are recognized as a state, but you can see there are some other imperialistic people who feel that those people should not be united. So the issues that, one, it is
is it the same incident with Russia and Ukraine?
I think it is a bit of different, but somehow there's a significant relationship, but it is small. I don't think.
Are you in any way saying that there is an external force that is delaying the integration agenda of East African community?
Yeah, example of what is happening in DRC. Why MONUSCO? That's why we are creating a standby force, an East African standby force. I also wanted to guide on that issue of East African standby force and the Eastern force. The Eastern force is the one that includes the Comoros and others. But the East African standby force is specifically for East African countries. So it involves the one that even involves the Tanzania. So the external influence that was in terms of colonialism, of neocolonialism. We also had individual egos of the presidents. We had issues of not addressing the issues that talk about the Muntu that the hustle that I'm talking about. You know, we can feel integration at a political level, but once the person does not feel what the integration is about, it does not make sense. That's why I was saying that what matters most is this integration should be specifically for economic gains, much as these other social factors might come in, but it should bring money to a pocket of someone who is down in Buyanja. He gets money in his pocket. How will he get market is when his potatoes are bought, when his Irish is bought. I wanted to conclude by telling you that
9 seconds.
That much as we might fear what the big sharks in the region might bring, like Kenyans taking over, when South Sudan opened the market, when South Sudan as a country opened, Kenyans entered as bankers, as insurance service providers, as education service providers. But for us, the role that Ugandans want to do is to ride borders. So I agree with him that Kenyans are a bit of aggressive, but how do we prepare for them to counter that? That's the advantage that we have. Those are advantages of economies of scale. Prepare, add value to your what you're producing. That's what the president is talking about. If you are producing milk, add some value. Talk about handling of because Kenya does not refuse our goods because we are not prepared. Let's be prepared as well so that we can benefit from this community. Thank you so much.
If the Obotis and Mwarimu came today, would they be happy? Have we lived to the expectations of our founding fathers?
Of course, I would say that the mere fact that we are talking about East African community which has been revived, that in its essence is a big plus which they would be comfortable with. But this cry for East Africa, it starts with each member nation. You have to put food on table for your people. if we go back to the politics of Kwame Nkrumah, Kwame Nkrumah made Ghana as a model to copy from, okay, as a model to guide Africa, as a model to cover up the gaps. Now, our biggest problem we are having with the current East Africa, on top there, we talk very well, okay, and we do a lot of good papers. But when we come down to respective countries' politics or development, that is where now we make ourselves weaker.
Okay.
And here, let me say this very simple. Uganda, under the current state of dividing itself into several districts, several counties, several emerging cities, it makes us weaker when we are going into East Africa.
Okay.
Yes. So we need to do much as a country.
Mr. Rwanga.
Yes.
I'm looking at the long-term relationship between Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, which was the foundation on which trust, progress, and business of East African community was built. Are you not bothered that having many member states may in one way or the other jeopardize the integration process and the relationship or the cooperation that has been there for the three countries?
Actually, it will not jeopardize. If anything, it will open opportunities. But opportunities come for those who are prepared for them. Okay? And these opportunities, they have to be really worked out through national arrangements, supply chains, and what have you. Now, we need to really work. If it is Uganda, work things out from your national parliament, liaise with the others in Arusha, who are your parliamentarians there. How do we fix these things?
Okay. All right. Our time is fast spent. We may not go beyond this, but I will give you some seconds to wrap up and give your way forward. But before I go to that way forward, should we expect Ugandan economy to undergo dramatic changes in the next decade, since we have been integrated into the regional marketplace?
So much. That's what actually I wanted to talk about. You to enter a business, you will do what they call a SWOT analysis. You look at your strength, you look at your weaknesses, you look at opportunities, and then the threats. Where is Uganda's strength now? Our strength, first of all, is we have peace. Secondly, we have a leader who has political will. Where are our weaknesses? Our weaknesses, first of all, are, for example, value addition in our products. Prepare products to suit the market. Those are our weaknesses. But where are the opportunities that we talk about? Opportunities that we see is a bigger market. You were talking about East Africa is now over 295 million people. If you are selling to people who are in Uganda only, you are looking at a market of only 45 million. But now the market has expanded to 295. If you have many people seeing your product, that means it is better. We have a chance, an opportunity of the internet that has come up. We have a chance that we have infrastructure that is coming up. We have a chance that we have people who have started feeling it in their pockets. I mean, a Ugandan can now go to the internet and sell to someone who is in Nairobi. So I believe that our economy is going to boost more, and I wanted to give you some.
If I was to use internet today, would I be limited, or I have to wait for the integration in order to use my internet to connect with my buyers in Kenya?
What I'm saying, what unites, it is better, it is more, it is part of an opportunity that we have to enter the market. Once the internet is open.
In seconds, as you conclude on that, we have to end this program.
As I conclude, I must say that Ugandans must prepare for this, and we are all the issues that we should be getting, we are having now, were caused by our traditional chiefs. Someone, they would bring a mirror and then he says, you go to Unyoro and attack. Had the chiefs united themselves, Africa would still be one, would not be cut into on the plate and on the Berlin conference like it happened. So let's look at the mistakes of the past, prepare ourselves, and enter and we be optimistic, not pessimistic, not fearing where we are going. You cannot say that you will not sleep so that you don't dream. You have to sleep. If the dream is to come, you deal with it.
Even when it is a scary one?
No, you sleep. You cannot fail to sleep because it is a scary one. Even if you have got it, at the end of it all, you will go back and sleep.
All right. Thank you so much. But before I let you go, since you are a youth, what do you think the youth should do? What is the contribution of the youth in this integration process?
Thank you so much. First of all is to prepare. That's why I called myself a hustler. I talk about the mwananchi who's trying to come up. How will the mwananchi come up and gain from there? First of all, it is to prepare ourselves by preparing goods. For example, we add value to what we are producing. For example, we take advantage. I also wanted to talk about, I have some scholarship. I don't know if you will give me a chance to give.
To advertise?
Not to advertise. I just want to give out scholarships as a part of empowering the youth.
Please. In seconds.
Labour College of East Africa is a school that it is also part of the integration that we are talking about. It is a school that deals in business, in agriculture courses. We do very many courses. So we give scholarships to the youth as part of empowering them. We also make them to get a chance. It is built on the basis of the labor movement.
Okay.
And I would like to read out my number so that maybe the youth can benefit.
Okay. Since it is about scholarships.
Yes. 0701 075049.
Again.
0701 075049. I also have MTN 0784 577 111. 0784 577 111. You can contact me for scholarships in business, labor related, and science courses. We work at diploma and
all right.
certificate. Thank you.
Alwanga Christopher, in seconds, since Dixon gave out scholarships and took our time.
My reminder is to our home government, led by President Yoweri Museveni, is to go back to Maputo Declaration, which reinforces agriculture to 13% of our gross domestic expenditure. And as we reinforce agriculture, we wait for how best we can use the oil revenue.
Okay.
These two aspects can drive our integration agenda with something great to offer to the region.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Thank you so much for being part of UBC Ground Zero. I want to thank you so much for creating time to give such opinions and inspire the people of Uganda in as far as integrating the people of East Africa is concerned. We always join all the other that call for unity. As UBC, we had to take this and add on our voices, on those voices that are calling for unity of the people of the East. And we believe that we are stronger when we are united. We've been discussing on how we can work to attain East African integration agenda, and we're looking at opportunities and gaps, and we're asking ourselves whether Uganda is on course. We had in the studios Dixon Akoraje, who is coming from East African, not East Africa, but is coming from the university that has given us some scholarships, and we also had, that is the East Africa, that is the lecturer at Labour College of East Africa, is a Pan-Africanist and hustler. We also had Luanga Christopher, is the head of ideology, research and documentation, is coming from UPC Secretariat. And we also had Honorable Dombo Rumara, is the Director Communications from the NRM. And we also had Brigadier General Felix Koreje, UPDF spokesperson. From all of us at UBC, we wish you all the best. Until next Saturday, same program, a different topic. We thank you for being part of UBC. Other programs are continuing on UBC Butebo, UBC Western Nile, Magic 100 FM, and UBC Red. George Ngobi is coming on with On the Journey. From all of us at UBC, wish you all the best. For God and my country, I'm Paidiaman Ortega. I sign out.
That was Ground Zero Season 2, a production of Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Tune in to Ground Zero on UBC Radio. We discuss politics.
The money we collect as taxes in the country, we lose it in corruption.
Economics.
The four economic sectors where their jobs and wealth are: commercial agriculture, industries, services, and ICT.
Education.
The classes which will not need an abridged curriculum are the entry-level classes of P1, Senior 1, and Senior 5.
Culture and religion. And other areas of human interest. Ground Zero every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on UBC Radio. Don't miss.
Massive. You listen to the voice of David Powell, straight out of Kingston, Jamaica. Yeah, representing for the big bad DJ Alice Gal. Understand me? I'll be there on the Afro Explosion show. Yeah? Afro Explosion show. Yeah? Massive.
Real definition music.
DJ Alice Girl in the building.
Circle baby.
If you keep it on, baby make it on. Get your booty pile up. If you keep it on. from the street to the rooftop. Never give up. Let me take it to the new top. In the big fun, taking up, making new dreams. Take it up in my group.
This is UBC Radio, the home of inspiration.
Shut down the countdown. Baseline pound down. Let them say we don't charge up. Let them know we don't turn up. Booty nice, energized. Money maker, buckle up, get rise. Propeller, money plan, money time. Container, let's get you bouncing up. The baka is a confirm. Not the way you dey bend down. The baka is a confirm. The way you dey bend down. Kilometer bound, kilometer bound. Kilometer bound, kilometer bound.
Afro Explosion Show. Yeah, massive.
Kilometer bound, kilometer bound. Kilometer bound, kilometer bound. Kilometer bound, kilometer bound. Kilometer bound, kilometer bound.
DJ Alice girl in the building.
This is Independent Sound.
UBC has 11 sister radio stations spread throughout the country to educate, inform, and entertain. Tune in to UBC Radio FM 98, your national radio station, Magic 100, where sports and music is our life. 87.5 Star FM in Uganda, 97.4 UBC West covering Western Uganda, 102 Mega FM in Gulu, 97 FM Butebo Radio in Eastern Uganda, 107.0 Buduli FM, 100.5 Nge FM in Kasese, 98.0 West Nile FM in Arua, Total Ray Radio FM 90 in Karamoja, and 93.0 Voice of Mundbujo. Now you covered in your local language.
UBC Radios, inspiring Uganda.
As Uganda works towards Vision 2040, UBC Radio is dedicated to the development of Uganda. Join us every day for transformative programs in English, Swahili, and Luo. This is UBC Radio.
Take a walk of literature in the Journey program, a memorable walk of life into creative writing, arts, fiction, and non-fiction every Saturday from 12 to 1 p.m. only on UBC Radio. From Julius Ochwinyo to Susan Chiguri to Jack Mapanje, join us on the journey as we take you into the lives of various writers in the world of literature. The Journey on UBC Radio. Literature Review is rooted in the past, resounds in the present, and moves us into the future. The Journey on UBC Radio.
Yes, indeed. A very good afternoon, dear listeners. Welcome to the Journey program, your program that is dedicated to the world of literature. With me, Ngobi George, where we analyze, we comment, we enjoy all genres of literature, looking at various writers, various influencers that have managed to influence in the world of literature, looking at scholars, looking at writers, looking at students. Of course, we also talk about poets. I just want to welcome you from Ground Zero program, a very interactive program that cuts across pertinent issues across the country. And indeed, you've enjoyed, and I hope your weekend is okay. But keep the national broadcaster where we entertain you as well as educating you. Now, because probably if you've been following Martin Luther Sibirwa, the man behind Makerere University, the fountain, the tower that has actually many influential alumni across the world. And as part of the celebrations, as part of Makerere celebrations of hitting 100 years, it's called the centenary celebrations. They've been profiling people that have really been influential in the lives of other human beings, especially the scholars.